material for the day, I want to give you a little bit of challenge here. But it also fits in with what we've been reviewing here. We're talking about Bob and Steve. Nothing to do with the BP gas stations, no. Just because I think I heard that commercial on my way in this morning and those two names stuck in my head. So that's the only connection. Bob and Steve are brothers. And they have an uncle who passes away and leaves them a ranch. It's a beautiful little ranch. There's a river running through it. Very grassy fields. And it actually has 2 cabins on it. Yeah, I don't know if I would want to live in it, but yeah. Especially since the roof isn't even sitting on it straight. Yeah. There's a reason I'm a math teacher and not an artist. So we have 2 cabins on it. And their uncle passes away and they inherit the ranch from their uncle. And one lives in one cabin, one lives in the other, and they're ranching together, raising all the cattle. But Bob and Steve decide that cattle are just too tough to work with. They're too big, they're too mean. Bob may have got roughed up by one of the cows a little bit and got a little scared. So they decide they're going to take all the cows in and they're going to sell them. And when they go to sell them, the price they get per cow is equal to the number of cows they had, number of cows they sold. So, for example, this isn't necessarily the number of cows they had, but let's say they had 20 cows. They would have got $20 each, or $400 total. Or let's say they had 12 cows. They would have got $12 each, or $144 total. Does that make sense? So whatever number of cows they had to sell, they also got that many dollars per cow. And you multiply them together to get the amount of money they had. Well, after they sold the cows, they were sitting there thinking to themselves, now what? What are we going to do with this ranch? You know, we don't want to get a lawnmower and mow all the grass. We got to have something to eat the grass. So what they do is they decide they're going to buy sheep. Sheep aren't as big and scary as the cows are, not so likely to hurt Bob. And sheep are $10 each. They buy as many sheep as they can afford. In other words, they're down to less than $10. They have no more than $10 left. Less than $10 left. At which point, Steve finds a goat. The money that's left over is exactly enough to buy a goat. So they are now penniless again. They've spent all the money from selling the cows. And they're on their way home. Bob's a little miffed about Steve buying the goat. And on the way home, Bob says something to Steve about it. And they get into a big fight. They decide that they can no longer be partners, no longer be friends, no longer be brothers, no longer have any association with each other. So when they get back to the ranch, they decide Bob's going to be in his side, Steve's going to be on his side, the river's going to be their border, and they're going to go, divide everything up. The problem is they go to divide up the sheep. And there is 1 sheep left over. What's that mean? That means there was an odd number of sheep, right? Which means, by the way, the 2 examples I used before couldn't possibly be. Because if they got 400 cows, or $400 from their cows, how many sheep would they have bought? At $10 each, they would have bought 40 sheep, right? That's an even number. Wouldn't work. If they had $144, how many sheep would they have bought? Well, divided by 10, that would have been 14 sheep. That's an even number. That wouldn't be right. Okay? So neither one of those numbers is correct. So they had an odd number of sheep. So they had a sheep left over. And finally, Steve says, you know what? Since I wanted the goat, I will take the goat. Plus, there was a ranch dog that they inherited with the ranch. It had been their uncle's dog. He'll take the dog and he will give Bob the extra sheep. So in other words, Steve is saying we'll call that exactly even. That the goat plus the dog is equal to the extra sheep. So here is the question. What value did Steve just put on the dog? You can come up with an exact dollar value here. It doesn't look like there's enough information here, but there is. And I'm going to give you one hint. Make a list and look for a pattern. Anybody who can give me the correct answer to this, not only give me the correct answer, but also explain to me why. Show me the pattern that shows that that has to be the correct answer. It's worth up to 20 points. Extra credit. Yeah, I'll try to upload this video right away for you. So you will have, like I said, up to 20 points extra credit for finding the value of that dog. Okay, so for Wednesday, there is a new homework.